Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be taking a look at gunpowder farms from a general view so you can figure out what gunpowder farm you would like to build. Now, how many times have you heard of gunpowder farms that actually spawn creepers or best designs? Probably a lot, and that is the case for most mob farms. But before we look at what gunpowder farms you can invest in, I'd like to sort of define the typical mechanism for mob farms. It starts off in a spawning chamber where there is usually no light. The mobs that spawn in the chamber will be transported to a killing chamber, usually by water, where the mobs are either manually farmed or automatically farmed. This is the general idea for all mob farms. Mob farms in the nether and the end work differently, but we will ignore those. The creeper farm, however, has modifications that separates it from the general mob farm, specifically the use of trapdoors and cats. By placing trapdoors on the ceiling of a 2-block high area, only creepers and spiders can spawn. In some designs, carpet is placed on the floor to prevent spiders from spawning. You'll see why this is relevant later. Cats can be utilized in creeper farms because cats scare creepers. When placed appropriately, the cats can effectively make the creepers run to a transportation system where they will be sent to a killing chamber. In a way, the most effective gunpowder farm uses trapdoors, carpets, and cats. With that out of the way, we can begin our analysis. To start off, we have this design which you are probably very familiar with. This design is pretty effective, having trapdoors, cats, and carpets. And even better, it can be stacked. What I didn't mention earlier was the ability to be stacked, which is arguably very important. This farm is perfectly good for early gunpowder needs, and you probably don't even need to upgrade this to a new design. This is because you can just keep stacking it more and more. In the description below, I have another version of the gunpowder farm that is slightly bigger but uses the same concept and layering ability. Now, the previous design was automatic, which brings to another key factor: automatic versus manual. The general idea is, if possible, manual is more effective. This is because you can put looting 3 on the sword, which directly causes more mob loot. A design that showcases this is the design on the screen. You've probably seen this in many of my videos, and for good reason. It took me a whole day to build, so I will milk it forever. Jokes aside, this design gives all the benefits of the previously mentioned design, but with the manual killing factor. Having like 35 layers, this giant behemoth of a structure causes loads of creepers to spawn, which are scared off by cats into a bubble elevator, which brings the creepers to a killing chamber. This is the kind of farm that is effective enough that you only need to use it one time and never come back. I personally love these kinds of farms, but whatever floats your boat. With that being said, another design that can be stacked, is effective, and is automatic is this design by Logical Geek Boy. This farm generates loads of gunpowder. With all these examples, now I want to talk about the more personal building time aspect of this. A lot of these best designed gunpowder farms are actually not that good. This boils down to a few reasons, some of which you may disagree with. The first is the fact that there are easier to build and better gunpowder farms. Not to send hate towards any creators, but there are gunpowder farms that are just not worth it when we have better and more reliable versions. From the time of this recording, the first design showcased has been the most easy to build and serves as a reliable gunpowder farm. But this design has not always been on the internet, for obvious reasons. So if the gunpowder farm was towards a specific period of time, that farm is not bad, just outdated for being the best design. Another reason is what really constitutes as the best design. If we're talking rates, it's the version that you build in the perimeter. And that's really it. The best design is the perimeter build, as it grants the most rates. So how about we loosen the term a bit? What about the best design purely means relatively easy to build, efficient, and can be built relatively recent to getting an elytra? Well, then I'd still say the best design is the first version I showcased. Low rates? Just stack it. I know that's easier said than done, but you don't really need that much gunpowder. Also, another thing, the rates on the thumbnails of most videos are most likely clickbait. You probably knew that already, but it's always good to mention. Another thing is the need for gunpowder. You don't need that much gunpowder. Use duration 1 rockets. If you need loads of TNT, you can invest in a crazy efficient farm later on. The truth is, most people won't need enough gunpowder to blow up the nether anyways. So, here's my main recommendation. Go for the first design shown, and if you want something stronger, invest in the one by Logical Geek Boy. With that being said, let's talk about the things that can make your farm more effective. The less places mobs can spawn outside the farm equals the better rates of the farm. This means, if possible, build the farm in a deep ocean or a perimeter. Since perimeters are pretty unrealistic for most people, building the farm on a deep ocean is the most logical choice. If you have a perimeter, you can just go nuts and build that one creeper farm design which generates the max amount of creepers. Next thing, if you're going to need cats in your gunpowder farm, get some cats that are just for breeding onto the build site, like somewhere around it, right? Don't place these cats into the farm, unless you've gotten to the last layers, but use them to breed more cats. This gives you a good source of cats that regenerates after the time you spent building the next layer. Cat platform in the ocean? Even better. The fish are in the sea waiting. As mentioned before, use soul campfires over campfires and even magma blocks. If your build requires loads of blocks, invest in an automatic cobblestone generator. Trust me, this saves loads of time. Carpets are going to be atrocious to grind for, so best if you have a sheep farm or shepherd. Trapdoors are by far the worst thing to get. Here's a conversion that will help. 3 logs equate to 4 trapdoors. Take the amount of trapdoors you need, divide that number by 4, and multiply by 3. This will tell you how many logs you need for trapdoors. Divide 64 for amount of stacks if that helps. But anyways, that is all I have to say. I know this is a quite stacked video, but it was going to be longer, and it happens every now and then. Thanks for watching today's video, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.